Good afternoon, Cuxton. I hope you're well. I imagine you're thinking to yourself, this is quite unusual to see Mrs. Aldenbury on a Friday afternoon. But I asked Mr. Bilton whether I could take his assembly this week because I want to talk to you about something that's rather important. So bear with me, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So today, children, we're going to be talking about what's called a lockdown drill. And we're going to be talking about why we're going to be practicing the lockdown drill over the next few weeks and how we can keep you safe as children and as staff and so on. So let me get the next slide up. And there we go. So at Cuxton, we know that our children do feel safe. We've spoken to you about it through pupil conferencing. We've also completed a survey, and lots of the children at Cuxton have said they feel safe in our school. So I want to think about a couple of the ways that you keep yourself out and safe outside of school. So, for example, to be safe crossing a street, you need to make sure you're with a grown-up. You need to look both ways to be sure no cars are coming. So that's one of the ways of keeping yourself safe outside on the roads. Can you talk to your friend now to see if there's another way that you can keep yourself safe when you're walking along the pavements, maybe in Bush Road or down our driveway and so on? How else can you keep yourself safe? So everyone back together now. It may be ways such as making sure that you're not wearing headphones when you're walking down the road. There's research that says that people that wear headphones are more likely to be knocked over by cars because they don't always see them coming. It may be that you hold your adult's hand if you're maybe a young child when crossing the road and so on, and stop, look and listen. So there's lots of ways of keeping yourself safe when you're walking around Cuxton. When you go in your parents' cars or friends' cars and so on, you keep yourself safe by buckling your seatbelt. And for example, if you're outside and it's really cold, you keep yourself safe and warm by wearing warm clothes, a jacket, and so on. So there's lots of ways of keeping yourself safe and preventing yourself from danger. When we're at school, we keep ourselves safe by making sure that we're walking through corridors rather than running. And for example, it might be that you see something on the floor, so you pick it up. So when you see me walking around school, you may have seen me picking up coats and bags, and I do that to keep you safe and to make sure that nobody trips and falls. So it's really important, Cuxton, when we're walking around our school, that we keep ourselves safe by following our school rules and our rights, that everyone has the right to be safe. So we do have many rules to keep ourselves safe, and actually a lot of these we do every day without realising. And every time you're doing any of these things, we talk about them, you're practicing being safe. You are being safe. And in school, we have other ways of keeping you safe. So 3 times a year, we have what's called a fire drill. And all of you know the fire drill routine with the fact that as soon as the bell alarms, as soon as it rings, you go straight outside, you drop everything where it is, and you go online up silently. Your teachers then check to make sure that all pupils are there, and then they put their hands up. And we know those rules and routines for fire drills. And that's to ensure that you get out quickly and safely and quietly from the building in case there was an actual fire. So today I'm going to talk to you about a different kind of drill and another way of keeping you safe. And that's what's called a lockdown drill. It's sort of like a fire drill, okay? But it's best practice to enable us to keep safe from anything that's different that might be happening in our neighbourhood or school that could potentially put you at risk or you at harm. For example, there may be a person outside that we don't know, or maybe grown-ups then need to learn a little bit more about that person outside to find out whether they're safe or not. Also, there may be an example where a lion or an elephant or whatever has escaped from a zoo. We may have a wild animal outside the school. You never know, these things can happen. So the lockdown drill is really important for us as a school because it's a way of keeping you safe from things that maybe don't happen every day, but could happen. It's safety first. So I'm now going to give you a little bit more information as to how the lockdown drill is actually going to work. So an alarm will sound continuously, it won't stop. okay? It will just keep sounding. And it sounds like a long beeping sound rather than a ringing sound like the fire drill. So there is a difference. So when you hear the fire drill, it's more like a bell. This is a long, continuous sound. What happens when that long, continuous sound rings, children, is all the staff in school, teachers, teaching assistants, office staff, and so on, will be alerted. They'll be sent a message to say that we're in a lockdown. And they'll be informed whether we're in what's called a partial lockdown or a full lockdown. And the staff at school know the difference between the two lockdowns. Now, this is really important for you to remember. If you're outside a classroom when the alarm sounds, that long beeping sound, you need to go inside to the nearest classroom with a teacher and follow the instructions. So if you're outside, you come in. It's different to the fire drill. With the fire drill, when you're inside, you go out, the opposite. So when the lockdown alarm rings, you're outside, you go into your nearest classroom. If you're in maybe a PE lesson outside or you're in the hall, again, follow your teacher's instructions and go inside to the nearest classroom. It's really important that everyone is inside the building when there is a lockdown drill. Now, what I want you to remember is that the grown-ups in school will help fix the problem, but we do need your help. Everyone has an important job to do during a lockdown or a lockdown drill. Your teacher will tell you exactly what needs to be done and where you need to go to keep yourself safe. But you do have two very important jobs to do during a lockdown drill, and I'm going to tell you what those important jobs are in a minute. So the first important job that you need to do when that lockdown bell alarms is you need to make sure that you are superhero listeners, the best listeners you have ever been for your teachers. Because your teachers will need to tell you exactly what you need to do, where you need to go. They might say to you that you need to go underneath the table. They may say that you need to go over to a certain corner in a classroom and so on. But again, you need to show superhero listening and follow their instructions. Your teachers will know the safest place in the room, okay? And they've saved it just for you. So as I've just said, it may be a particular corner in your classroom, or it may be under a table. And besides the listening to your teacher, your second most important job is to be still and silent. So if your teachers tell you where to go, you need to ensure you don't move. You need to stay still. And you need to be absolutely silent whilst doing so. It's really important that you follow these instructions, children. There is a difference between quiet and silent, okay? We use quiet voices inside when we talk to each other, or maybe we're in a place like a library or walking through corridors. So there are quiet voices. But when we're silent, it means that we cannot hear a noise at all. Now, I know the children at Cuxton are well used to being silent for fire drills. So it shouldn't be anything unfamiliar, but we need to make sure that we are absolutely silent. And it might be that you have to stay there for quite a while, okay? But it's really important you do not move and you do not talk until you are told to do so. It might be that the alarm stops, children, but it's only when your teachers tell you that you're able to move or able to talk can you do so. It's really important that you keep yourself and others safe by keeping silent and not moving. And we'd be so proud of you to do that when you do that, sorry. You're part of your class team. Everyone has to work together to stay silent and still and safe and to keep each other safe. So I just want to remind you of some of the key things. So a lockdown drill is different to a fire drill. A lockdown drill is when there's potentially someone or something outside our school that we need to investigate a little bit more. It will be a continuous noise, not such a ringing noise, but more like a continuous beeping noise. You need to listen to your instructions of your teacher. They will tell you where to go, but you need to be silent whilst doing so and do not move. If you are outside, you need to come inside to the closest classroom. And that is the same if you're outside at break time or lunchtime. You need to go into your nearest classroom first. The teachers will keep you safe if you follow these rules, children. Now, in a couple of weeks' time, or yes, a couple of weeks, we are going to have a lockdown drill, and your teachers will be informing you as to the day that the drill will be taking place. I will be letting your mummies and daddies know as well about the drill, and they will know the date on the letter that I'm sending home. But when that alarm sounds, make sure you're doing the right thing. And remember, do not move or do not talk until you're told to do so. I know the children at Cuxton can work together as a community to keep ourselves safe. Speak to you later, children. Bye.